Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North. Fresh from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
The sweet, sweet Mariners, baby.
They're not so sweet as of late, recording after the first game in Texas, but we're going to refrain and save that for next week's set of games. Be breaking down the series against the Yankees and the Angels in this episode. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about us. If you're looking for a guy that's trying to fit in with the youths, spring break. Right here on the shirt, it's spring break for the kids, and I'm ready for the Mariners to give me a break, break me off some more hits and runs. And if you're looking for a guy like that, you're looking for a guy like me, your boy, Coach Red. You can find me on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that, hey, the Mariners are playing similar to your role in high school, almost. I was gonna say defense, but that hasn't been hot.
That's
The hitting hasn't been hot. But at one point, you were a decent little pitcher, and they've been pitching all right this last week. So guess what? You and the Mariners have something somewhat in common. Congratulations, Kane.
yeah, I'm Kane. You can find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. False. Do it, freaking do it. Yeah, my 65 mile an hour fastball.
Yep, 60 poo, baby.
It
So
moved a lot.
the Mariners started off the week pretty hot. You know, win the opening game against the Yankees. You've got a very good start by Luis Castillo. Looked awesome.
No one expected six.
No one expected six, didn't give up a run. Just really went out there and shoved. And to really see that coming off the back of what you got from Emerson Hancock the day before, very intriguing for guys that are slotted in at the bottom of your rotation. And Hancock obviously has to prove it for longer, but it gives you good depth now when Bryce Miller's back, right? It gives you options.
Yes.
It gives you a whole slew of different things that you can implore. Next night, Logan Gilbert has a solid game. Mariners are in that game till the end, end up letting it go by. Was that? No, it wasn't extra innings. Sorry, there were a few this week. I couldn't get them all straight. Didn't really get to see the Wednesday game. Was gonna watch it. It was close. 5-3 game. You had George Kirby had an all right start. The Mariners tacked on some runs late, but never were really in that game.
Mm.
If it was closer or the Mariners just didn't score in the eighth and ninth, I probably would have watched the replay. But I was like, I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't need to spend 9 innings watching a loss for little bits and pieces, right?
Mhm.
Come to Friday. Friday, Mariners win the game in extra innings. And you had Brandon Donovan go down with an injury in this game. You had, oh, who was I thinking? Brian Wu looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. Gives you 8 or 7 strong innings and puts you in a position to win. The Mariners offense lights up the in the top of the 10th. You have Cole Young laces one out for a triple. You end up tacking on a couple extra runs. You win that game. Saturday, the Mariners gave up a leadoff home run. It was the only run scored on the day. And what will forever be known in Angels fans' mind, and now mine, thanks to Joe Adell, the Joe Adell game where he robs three home runs in the same game. It's the first time, at least ESPN was saying, it's the first time a team has ever robbed three homers in a game, and hands down, um,
I kind of got
by one person.
confused on the last one from a rules standpoint. My thought is that if you go over fence with ball, it's still a home run.
But you left while in play. So that's the reason being because think of the Derek Jeter going into foul territory. Foul territory is going to be different than when it's in play because it has to be the same for both, right? If you're going over a fence, doesn't matter how you do it. We've seen Mitch Haniger go into the stands, making a play in right field at T-Mobile Park. Guess what? It was an out. So, as unfortunate as that was, the people who hit balls that would have been home runs, it was great to see. You had Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor, and JP Crawford all put it in there. I mean, big ups to Joe Adell. He's been a thorn in the
Yeah.
side of the Mariners, and usually they have that guy. Might be a little early, but he could be that guy this year just because of that frustration
Wait,
point.
who was it last year? Was it Logan O'Hoppe, I
Wasn't
believe?
Ohapi? God,
Or was
it
it Nito?
wasn't Neto either because we did pretty well against.
I'm pretty sure it was Adele because he took
No, I'm not
pitchers
saying for
deep.
like for one team specifically.
I
Like
mean,
you look back at guys that haven't had like
uh,
big
my,
years.
well, I'm talking like Mike Trout is a Mariner killer.
Yeah, I don't I exclude the guys that are, expected to do it, right?
Sure.
You had what was it with Tampa Bay Rays? You had Manuel Margot that one year who had a God series against the Mariners and I think was DFA'd like 3 weeks later,
I think
right?
it was in T-Mobile too.
Yeah, so you have those type of people that are just a thorn in your side for a whole series that aren't expected to be that guy. And we've seen good things out of Joe Adell in the past, but you haven't seen that level of defense. And he didn't really hurt the Mariners big with his bat, but he's done it in the past. I think he had like the off the bench walk off grand slam in the past, but robbing three home runs in a game is tough. Get into Sunday's game and you actually see some runs getting produced. You One thing I will say about Saturday, first inning, you had back-to-back hits from Julio and Josh Naylor.
Yeah.
I'll take it. We're moving in a direction that is forward, right?
Yeah.
And
About
then
time.
you get into Sunday's game, a lot of back and forth throughout this game. Game goes to extras, and Mariners just couldn't get it done, right? Couldn't get it done. They had
Cole Young.
opportunities, couldn't get it done.
Cole Young, lefty, lefty to put him in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, a, there was a handful of hitters that had a pretty solid week and a slew of pitchers. And we're going to blaze through this episode a little bit. It's been a little bit frustrating this week, especially when you had the opportunity to sweep the Angels and the Mariners, for how deep their lineup can be, are not acting that way. And I sent this to a couple of buddies over the weekend, and I was like, last year your power hitters were Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Josh Naylor, and Randy Arozarena. Your power hitters currently this year are Cole Young, Dom Canzone, and Luke Rayleigh. That doesn't bode well when your big boppers aren't able to get it done on a consistent basis. Luckily, we're talking about a few more of them this week. So you're hoping that that trend is that they're going to continue to progress. You've got a bunch of division games. We'll get to that on the upcoming matchup. But for the week that was, we'll start as we always do with the top average guy of the week. And it was Cole Young. 318 on the week. He had 7 hits, scored 4 runs. He had one double, one triple, one home run, and three RBIs.
Oh
Your pick to
boy.
click.
Good. What is there to say? I mean, the
It
dude
was
is
better than my right
balling.
field platoon that had three singles.
Yeah, the defense this year has been plus for him. Uh, the bat has really come alive, especially against lefties. Mashing them, actually. I believe both of his home runs are off of a lefty, and they
Yep.
were mashed.
And he made a
So,
Gold Glove worthy play in that first game against the Yankees too, just full layout. Like his
yes,
defense has been solid. I mean, it's a far cry from what we saw last year out of Jorge Polanco.
for sure. But the kid put in the work this offseason, and now it's showing. Like, the dude is balling out, and I can't believe it. One of my predictions finally came right so far. It's still the beginning of the season, but it's good to see coming out of camp Cole Young blazing a path right now.
Yep. Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So take it.
That's right.
Next guy we're talking about didn't get as big a run just because Brendan Donovan overextended going into first, was out for a couple days. Luckily, he was back today. Not talking about his today performance, but batted 308 on the week, had four hits, and clocked in a double on that. No other stats of note. And there's not a ton of great stats this week because the Mariners did not play extremely well offensively.
No, not the
Um,
slightest.
Usually we stick it to above 300 for this week, but I kept it at above 200 and I sprinkled in one person that made some impact that was below 200 because I didn't want to talk about just two hitters. So the next guy on the list is Randy Arozarena. Had 286 on the week, had six hits, four runs, one double, one RBI, and one stolen base.
And I talked to you about this earlier. Randy seems like he's on a warpath.
He's looking good and he's taking his walks too. He's taking a couple hit by
Yes.
pitches. He's taking some walks. His OBP's up there. He's still a menace when he's on the base paths. He did have the potential to throw the guy out at home. Arm power's there, ball slightly offline. It's early in the season too. Like I know that we can't say that forever because we know better than any other fans out there that if you finish a game out of the playoffs, it doesn't matter when you lost that game. You lost it at some point. And in some of these games that could be wins, you're hoping you can turn around. But at least with the bat, Randy is being very consistent in that five spot. I think it's the perfect spot for him in a lineup, right?
Mhm.
I think that if Naylor or primarily Naylor continues to struggle a little bit, you don't see the power numbers. You might see him and Randy flip flop for a bit. But Randy is a at his peak, a middle of the order bat, and he's been acting like it through the first 2 weeks.
Lots of loud contact. Just questionable defense. At least he's hustling for the most part.
Agreed. Agreed. All right, next guy we got is Julio Rodriguez. Julio 208 on the week, five hits, two runs, one RBI, and I believe the RBI was to send them to extra innings.
I believe so. Also went like 3 for 4 on a game.
Well, the thing with Julio is it's been a little frustrating. We know that Julio usually starts slow, but what I will say is you've seen Julio come up in the clutch a couple times so far early in the season, late
Agreed.
inning opportunities, driving a run in to tie or take the lead, right? He's
Agreed.
been in a good position to do that. And it's something that you like to see from Julio, who is a traditional slow starter. You're seeing some louder contact. I mean, he came up yesterday with the bases loaded and absolutely stings one to left, you know, 10 feet more towards the gap, and that's a base clearing double, right? So you're seeing some things where Julio is progressing, and obviously he was a guy that only had one hit on the week going into the week. So, we sit there and 5x that up to five. We're moving in the right direction, but
Hmm.
we still need to see some more. All right, next guy that we also need to see some more from also had five hits on the week, batted 200. It's Josh Naylor, two RBIs. I mean, we're talking about our 3 and 4 hitter there, hovering right around 200, three RBIs on a week where there were opportunities to drive some guys in. obviously we said Julio did it late, and it was good to see Naylor put bat on ball for for the first time this year and get some knocks out of it. He was
Mm,
infinity more because he had 0 hits after last week.
yeah, it's just I don't know. There's been so many situations where you got a guy on second or a guy on third, and they just don't get out of it, or they just get out of it with no runners scoring. It's been very frustrating.
Has been frustrating, but at least on I believe it was Monday night. Monday night was the night they went into extras against the Yankees, and you had a walk off hit by Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh only hit 130 on the week, hit 3 hits, 1 run. He had a double, and he had 3 RBIs, one of those being a walk off. And you're starting to see Cal hit the ball a little bit more forcefully. The issue with Cal right now is he's struggling with fastball at top of the zone or slightly outside of the zone. He's not even fouling it off, right? He's got to be able to get back to ball in those situations and at least extend counts. We'll talk about it this next week, but he's able to do that a little bit in the Monday night game, which we're going to refrain from. But when you look at all of these guys, we talked about Julio, Naylor, and Cal Raleigh having a total of 3 hits over that first 4 games of the season.
Mm,
Now you go in a 6 game set, instead of 3 hits, you have 13. We still need to see it a little bit more consistently. Cole Young and the bottom of the lineup has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, Leo Rivas is the guy that was just outside of this. He had 3 RBIs on the week. He's a guy that's playing way more than I want him to. But when you had the injury to JP and he didn't rejoin the team until they got down in Anaheim, you had the Brendan Donovan injury. You're going to see that, right? You're not going to
mm,
bring up a Colt Emerson to bounce him around at multiple positions. You want him to get up and get comfortable. If it's not like you're bringing up a guy that spent multiple years in the minors like Leo Rivas, where it's like, hey, you're here, you've played in the minors for 10 years, get in where you fit in. And
mm,
you saw that a little bit with Ryan Bliss, who's a little bit more of an older prospect that is kind of a spot fit. Here we go. You don't really want to do that to the young guys. You want to give them a little bit of a runway, which they did with Cole Young last year, and then they took that runway away because he wasn't being productive. And I
mm,
think that having that motivation, you saw it with Dom Canzone. Hey, your time early in the year, you were not productive at the big league level. You're going to go down. Yes, we have some injuries in the outfield, plenty, right? They were missing Luke Raley for chunks. They were missing uh,
Robles for most of the
Robles for
season.
a good chunk, but you did not see him up there. You were running out. What was it, Leotis Taveras? For
Mm,
or was that the year before?
that was the year before.
But you were still sitting there putting other guys out in the outfield. And then Dom Canzo, when he eventually came back, had a pretty solid year. He learned some things and knew when he came back up. Pretty
I don't
solid.
know, but I mean, I call it still solid, but the only thing he knows how to do is hit solo homers.
So I said it was solid, not great when you hit 300 and still put 15 balls out of the ballpark and you realistically played a third to a half of a season. It's a
Yeah,
solid season for a guy that is a
for
platoon
sure.
bat.
Yeah, just
That's
need to
why
see it
that's why
more
I
with
said
that.
solid. But when we talk about things that are better than solid, let's talk about the pitchers on this team. The first week, we talked a lot about the starters, and granted, we've got some good starters to talk about this week as well. But where this really ratcheted up is being able to talk about the bullpen. The bullpen was pretty darn fantastic in being able to keep the Mariners team in all of these games. When you look at how this season has unfolded, the Mariners have been in every game. They are not scoring a ton of runs, yet the Mariners have a +3 run differential going into today's games, right?
Yep.
So starts from your starters and trickles down into your bullpen and start with the top bullpen guys. First guy is going to be Gabe Spire. He pitched 3 inning or three appeared in 3 games, 2 2/3 innings pitch. He did get the loss in the extra inning game, but it did not count as an earned run with the inherited runner at second. He
Mhm.
did get a save in the extra inning game on Friday.
Yes, he
Welcome to the
did.
year of you expect Munoz to get a bunch of saves, and so far 2 weeks into the season, you have Mooney, I think, has one save. You have Spire with a save and Criswell with a save,
Hmm.
right? Not what you expect. I
No,
think Brash even has a save.
maybe.
I think in one of the extra inning games, maybe not. I take that back. But let's talk
He
about
might have came,
Brash.
might have came out against the Yankees.
Yeah. Um, Spire had 3 Ks, gave up one walk. But Matt Brash, another 0 ERA in the week, pitched in 3 games, 3 innings pitch. He did get a win and 4 Ks, no walks.
Yeah, Matt Brash seems like he's back.
And having Spire, Brash, and Mooney clicking on all cylinders when you throw in the likes of Farrar, who's had some bad luck ball, and Bizardo, and seeing what he could do in those higher leverage situations last year, and knowing that you're still missing a guy that can be a frustrating piece at times in Vargas, but can be highly effective for long stretches of time too. Your bullpen is shaping up to be a pretty solid unit along with your starting staff. We need, like I said, give me a break, break me off some more hits and runs, right? That's what we need.
Agreed.
Another guy that we're talking in back-to-back weeks that we weren't expecting,
Yeah.
Legamina,
Like, oh.
0 ERA, 2 games appeared in, 3 2/3 inning pitched, only one strikeout.
I've never seen a dude more stressed when he's on the mound.
I'm pretty sure that he knows that when you have some guys getting healthier, right? You could see a guy like Troy Taylor regaining form, making his way back into this bullpen. You're looking at a Carlos Vargas that can really make some noise.
I
Legumina, every time he's out there, is pitching for his spot on this ball club.
100%, right?
And
Hundred
so far,
percent.
he's stepped up to the bill. It's not devastating, but he's getting out of it.
Yeah. All right, who's your next pitcher?
Eduardo Bazardo.
Let's
And
go.
we've said Eduardo Bazardo so many times that his name is Edward. And Buddy was over this weekend and he was like, I always want to call him Edward Bazardo, but I know it's Eduardo. And I go, no, it's the other way around, dog. We've been saying it so many times that you've just put it in your lexicon. But 2 games, 2 innings pitched, 2 Ks. And Bazardo, when he's on, he's tough. He's a tough cookie, man.
Dude, that slider is nasty.
Filthy.
It's disgusting.
All right, the next guy we're gonna talk about is Wilcox, the Rook.
Yeah, Cole
He,
Wilcox, who,
Cole Wilcox has been pretty impressive so far.
yes.
Um, 0 ERA on the week, appeared in 2 games, pitched 3 1/3, 5 Ks, one walk. One of those 5 Ks was ringing out Mike Trout.
Yeah, no. That's a lot of fun to see. It builds a lot of confidence real early too.
Well, and the Mariners, when you really look at it for the last handful of years, have really had guys that have stepped up to the plate and have been fun young arms. Munoz being one, Brash being one, Troy Taylor, when he came up, his rookie year before the
Yep.
injury was electric. You look at Carlos Vargas last year, exceeded, I think, everyone's expectation.
He was one of our first people to be cut when the bullpen got healthier, and he just stayed all year.
Yeah, and he
Pitched in
stuck
the
around.
postseason.
And in leverage situations in the postseason. So it's always fun to see the young guys come up because usually outside of Brash, who was
Yeah.
a converted starter, you're not looking at many of your bullpen arms being big hype guys. There's very few of them in the rankings that are strictly bullpen guys that have this high aura because they jet up through the minors. They have the ability to do that, right? You've
Hmm.
seen the jump of Brash from Double A up. We talked about it before with Edwin Diaz when he bumped up. So being able to see Wilcox come out, he's been impressive, man. He's an imposing figure out there, and he runs the ball up there, and he's not afraid to throw a nice high fastball, and it's been baffling to hitters.
Yep. Well, I love to see it.
All right, the last pitcher we will be talking about this for the relievers is Andres Munoz. He has 0 ERA, pitched in 2 games, 2 innings, 4 Ks, and got a win on Friday night's game.
Hmm. Hmm. I bet he did. You know, honorable mention. Well, I don't think he. No, he pitched in the Yankees series. No, Cooper Criswell. I don't mind Cooper Criswell.
He's your de facto long guy right now and can pitch you
Sure.
multiple innings when you have to burn up some arms. And there are some days when you're like walking the Fernando Rodney experience without the pizzazz and the sauce in the pitches. You're
Yeah.
seeing it up there. You're just like, I know that we're here and I don't love it, but we're here. We're here. He did give up a couple of runs in the Yankees game
Mm,
um, because he did have that phenomenal outing against the Guardians in relief of
yep.
Emerson Hancock.
Yep. Yep. And then, like you said earlier, Farrar just bad
Bad
luck
luck.
ball.
Defense is playing well behind him. It's been rough, especially when your right side solid. You've got Donovan that's won a Gold Glove as a utility player. You have JP who's won a Gold Glove at shortstop, and Leo Rivas is renowned for his glove above his bat. And unfortunately, your your Gold Glovers and your defensive replacement, it's tough when they aren't making plays. And I'll chalk that up to being early. Some guys getting healthy, some guys getting moved around. Brendan Donovan was primarily a second baseman last year, so getting back into the role of third base, it's a different spot. Getting used to some of those things, longer throws, and we probably won't bring it up. He made a hell of a play in tonight's game where he lays out, he's on his keister, throws a three hopper, and almost gets the guy out at first. Main
Hmm.
reason he didn't is because Josh Taylor was slightly off the bag, but it's going to be bang bang. Runner probably gets that call anyways. But it's definitely good to see, right? Trending in the right
Yes.
direction. But let's get to the starters. I mean, they've been setting the table all year. I believe you picked George Kirby for your pitcher of the week. Good thing you got to him first because he didn't make my list. So you won the hitter, I won the pitcher. My pitcher we're talking about last because he had the best outing. Start with Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo pitched in 2 games through 9 and 2/3. Had a 2.79 ERA on the week, 1 win, gave up 3 earned runs. Those were all against the Angels. He did not give up a run, I believe went six, so didn't really get a lot of depth in the Sunday game. But yeah, he in 2 games, 11 Ks, 3 walks.
Not bad.
Here and when you look at it, it's synonymous with what we saw last year with Luis Castillo. Looked phenomenal at home, not as good on the road. And that so far is playing out just like it did last year. So
Unless you go and pitch him in Colorado when it's snowing.
well, the thing that really helped him when that was happening is he was a couple years younger, and the Colorado Rockies stink offensively. So, but a guy who we thought kind of stunk, but has really came out and dazzled so far this year is Emerson Hancock.
It's Emerson Hancock, dude.
Emerson Hancock. Thanks Joe Adell for straddling Emerson Hancock with the loss. He gives up a leadoff home run. He goes 6 and 2/3, 5 Ks, no walks, gets the loss, 1.35 ERA.
Dude,
The
that's
dude has been nails
the
this year.
sweeper was the key.
he's
and
been
it's
nails.
playing so well.
It it's fun to see, especially when you
Yes.
look at a guy that was drafted before a guy where yes, there were some injury concerns, but a guy that's regarded as one of the top three pitchers in the American League, and Garrett Crochet, who was taking a couple picks after Emerson Hancock, right? Emerson Hancock was a guy that we drafted early. He had a good pedigree coming out of Georgia, and you're starting to see that come to fruition. I think
Yeah.
I think that with what he's been doing as a starter, as long as you're healthy, it's tough to move him to the pen, but I think with the emergence of that sweeper, he should be able. Didn't see as much last year, but he's another year older, another off season. Could get in that mindset like Brash did from moving from the starter to the reliever and really see that sweeper play up
Oh,
and see the fastball ratchet up a couple ticks, which you didn't see
yeah.
last year.
Well, it's. I think you got to attribute that to the bullpen mentality that he kind of adapted at the end of the year. Last year, it's oh, when you're getting called out of the pen, it's I'm gonna ratchet it up as much as I can this inning because I'm only getting one inning of work anyway. But then it's like then he's got to realize, oh, I got to pace myself and then ratchet up in certain points,
Well,
and
and you
that's
didn't
what I
even
love to see.
you didn't even really see him ratchet it up in the bullpen last year. You were expecting his fastball to play up more in the bullpen, which it never did, right? But
Mhm.
I do think that having that time in the bullpen, like you said, yes, can get him up for certain moments within an inning. And I think it's played well for him as a starter, right?
Agreed.
And yes, you needed guys, especially when you looked at the end of the year and you had Brian Wu go down. Luckily, you didn't really need to. You throw him at the end of the year. You've already have a spot locked up. You need a long guy in case your guys can't go. He's going to stay in the
Mhm.
bullpen, right? Comes in this year, work a little bit of both, primarily as a starter though, and but that mentality and being able to pitch in the playoffs, I think, was big.
Yes.
And top pitcher on the week, only starter with a zero ERA, Brian Wu. One game, pitched 7 innings, got the win, 6 Ks, one walk.
Ryan was just awesome, isn't he?
He's a fun player,
He's
man.
so fun.
And not playing too far from where he grew up. It's always good to see guys go back to their home areas and really ball out. I'm ready for Josh Naylor to go absolutely destroy the Blue Jays in Canada. But Brian Wu has in that first game, he kind of was the bad luck start. In his first outing, kind of was the bad luck starter of the bunch, right?
Mhm.
And boy, did he make up for it in this game. Looked completely dominant. Looked like he was in cruise control from the beginning. Usually, you see Brian Wu with these bigger strikeout numbers, but because he didn't have those big strikeout numbers, it allowed him to get a little bit deeper into this game. We're used to seeing Brian Wu, go 6+ innings after last year. Being able to go into the seventh and deeper is huge for this team. It keeps your bullpen fresher and kind of leads them so they're in a good spot when you got into Sunday's game, and even put your bullpen in a pretty good spot going into Monday's game as well because you were able to get length out of Wu and Hancock, even though you went into extra innings 3 times over the week.
Yeah.
So overall, frustrating week. The Mariners come out 2-4 on the week, which puts their season record at 4-6. And right now, it's hover around 500. Start winning some series, not splitting. You got to win these 3 game series, especially when you're playing in division, right? And
Yes.
speaking of that, upcoming, we've got 2 division rivals. You got 3 games with the Texas Rangers in Arlington, and then 3 games at home versus the Houston Astros.
Not looking forward to either series.
I
To
am.
keep it a buck with you.
I'm looking forward to. I think there's some real conversations because I think the other thing is when you go as deep as the Mariners did, you have your big guys that aren't producing in the lineup as well. I think there's a little added pressure on them internally, right? A lot of guys are looking at them. You have the guys that let's call a spade, right? Dom Canzone has had a pretty good start to the season. the dude's playing young and wild and free out there. Same thing with Luke Rayleigh's like, I'm back, I'm feeling healthy, I'm good to go. Cole Young's like, they've given me this leeway. You've got Brendan Donovan, who I think is just going to be the same dude no matter what jersey he puts on. He's a grinder and a hustler. And Randy's really ratcheted up. But your 2, 3, 4 hitters, there's been a lot of pressure on them, right? Those are the guys that are the middle of your lineup. They were the guys that were most vocal about wanting to get back. They were the leaders of this team when you look at the offensive side of the ball. And I'm really gonna hope that they have a real good talk with one another and really sit there and go, guys, we gotta push forward. We haven't been picking up the team like we expect to.
Yep.
Kudos to everyone else for doing it. We're gonna get back to the little things, right? We're not gonna try to put every ball out of the park. Hitting doubles are great. I love doubles, man. Doubles are so much fun. Home runs are great, but doubles are also very fun.
Yeah,
I like them more than singles.
that's true. I just just to kind of cap off with what you said, it just seems like, whenever there's a runner on base, when one of them comes up, right? It's like, okay, okay. And the first hack is the hardest hack they've taken all night. And in Julio's case, I've seen him with a lot of runners in scoring position so far, and a lot of first pitch away cutters, sweepers, sliders. And he's losing the first pitch, and he absolutely whiffs. Gotta clean it up.
Well, and that's what's called pressing when you're in the box, right? And when you're pressing when you're in the box, usually it doesn't like go well in your favor. You got to get relaxed a little bit. They got to
Mm,
get that fun going. We haven't seen the fun differential very high. The run differential still in the positive, but the fun differential I think is a little bit in the negative, right? And I think that getting JP back, getting back Brendan Donovan, being
mm,
able to see those guys heat up a little bit, I think this team is a powder keg. When this team gets clicking, it's going to be tough to beat them. And especially if they can string, 3, 4 games together, they're going to make it really tough. They might lose the fifth, but I could see them going on a stretch of another 4 or 5, right?
mm.
This team, when they get hot, they can play very well. And we saw that with this offense last year. And the biggest issue last year was health in your starting rotation. And you still have that concern a little bit, but what Emerson Hancock's been able to provide, what you've seen with every starter so far, no one has really let you down outside of Luis Castillo in Sunday's game not getting you depth.
Yeah.
Luis on the road, right? But Logan Gilbert's kept you in games. He hasn't looked completely lights out. You had George Kirby, who looked extremely lights out one game, not as lights out in the next game, but so far has been very good. Brian Wu, and we've talked about Emerson Hancock quite a bit. But what we do need to talk about is who are your picks to click for the week. We're going to start off with the hitters as always. Kane, who you got?
Hmm. I don't think I'm going back to the well with Cole Young this week. That might be a very hot take, but I think I'm gonna give it to my guy, the only big dumper to get him going again. Because most times when I picked Cal, hey, great things happened. We know I can't pick Julio, so next best thing I gotta pick the dumper. Get the good luck started. I feel like I'm already in the lead, so yeah. Coach Red, who do you got for your hitter?
Before I jump into that, I think we can attribute approximately 45 home runs for Cal last year to you for picks of the week. Direct correlation. Direct
Yes,
correlation.
sir.
Correlation isn't always causation, but I went with the same logic you had, and there was a guy that I picked pretty regular last year, and when I did pick him, I didn't try to hit the well too hard, but every time I picked him, it seemed to have a big week. And it's Julio Rodriguez. You're starting to see him sting the ball a little bit more to left field. He's putting the ball in play more. He's taking some key walks to taking some hit by pitches, and there have been plenty of times where he is stinging the ball and it's not finding a hole, right? I think that other reason why I was thinking Cal as well, especially when you get home against the Astros, those two in particular last year played so well against the Astros, it didn't matter what time of the year it was.
Hmm.
Those two really helped drive it forward to really take control against the Astros. And that's why I'm saying that even if the Rangers series, I'm hoping they sit down after tonight's game and really take a look in the mirror. But when you have that off day coming back home, knowing that you're feeling good coming back home. You've got a big division rival, you that you've been fighting tooth and nail against for the last handful of years. There's something different about those games, and those two in particular seem to show up the best. Do I think they're going to have the best series against Rangers? I sure hope so, but I do feel
At
very good about them against the Astros.
least one of us feels good about it.
All right. Who do you got for your pitcher?
Now, this is one I'm not ashamed of going to the well on. I mean, when he's the best pitcher on the week in, week out, give me Brian Wu. Woohoo! Big summer strikeouts
It's
coming
spring.
at you.
It's spring.
I'm not changing the call for,
Are the strikeouts on sale so you can get more of them for a
yeah,
discount? Deep
yeah,
discount.
deep discount.
Get ready for
No.
summer. Get your summer body right with Brian Bouquets.
He's just been awesome, dude. And I mean, him going seven this last week, I think you continue to see him get deep into games. And it doesn't even have to be striking out, dudes, because he's so effective with almost every pitch. So give me Brian Wu this week. Coach Red, who is your pick to click for the pitchers?
My pick to click is Luis Castillo at home again against the Astros. And I'm vision seeing a big strikeout of Yordan Alvarez in about the fifth inning of the game. Think he gets into the sixth again, maybe
You would
even
hope
completes
so.
it. And news in the broadcast tonight, Hunter Brown's down with an injury, a shoulder injury, so you don't know how long that's going to be extended. They
If it's,
obviously lost Frambar Valdez this
yeah,
offseason to free agency. And they're at the top
don't
of the
have
division.
Verlander.
Top of the division. It's early, right? But it's time to really put your stamp and really make strides to win the season series against the Astros and do it at home early on. And when I looked
Hmm.
at the rest, the cast of characters that were going to be starting at home, the one that actually gave me the biggest pause was Emerson Hancock, even though he's been arguably your best pitcher through two starts, right? And Emerson Hancock, a few years ago, he started a game against the Astros down in Houston. It was a wacky game where the Mariners score a ton of runs early, and then Emerson Hancock is shutting out the Astros. He comes up with an apparent injury. They storm back. I think the Mariners still ended up barely squeaking that one out, but it was just one of the weirdest games that I've watched. And I don't think that Emerson Hancock is still unsusceptible to the weird, right? We haven't
I don't
seen
think
it
so
yet.
either.
And I think that if there is going to be a blow up start, it's probably there because Logan Gilbert has pitched extremely well against the Astros too. And I was half tempted to pick him, but I didn't want to with us starting later. Usually I like a pitcher that has two starts in a week, anyways. And I wasn't going to let whatever happened in today's game augment mine. But with how well Castillo pitched against the star-studded lineup against the Yankees at home, I think that you're going to see the Rock with a few fist pumps, and you're going to have the juices flowing because the first two homestands, crowds were out there and crowds were rocking. I guarantee when you have a weekend series against the Astros, there's very few Astro fans that are going to be there, and that place is going to be moving and shaking. And we're ready to
Yes.
explode, right? We're ready for this team to right the ship a little bit. And I think that where you can do your most hay with that right now is that home series against the Astros. Are they the most intimidating team that you play this week? Yes, they are. But
Yes.
iron sharpens iron, baby, and go ahead and take that. You are the AL West champs until the end of the year, and someone takes it from you.
Yes,
Act like
agreed.
it. Go out and take care of your business against your division foes. Haven't been able to do that so far so early, but being able, let's get the ship righted, get the sticks a little bit hotter. It's starting to get warm here in Seattle, so maybe that's going to warm up those sticks for the Mariners and not the Astros.
Sure, sure.
Astros are built in space, and space is cold. So keep those bats cold, Astros, and keep the garbage cans in the locker room.
Yeah,
But when you go to the locker room, you know what else is in there?
it's that.
Your phone. And on your phone, you can go on to social media and you can find us and give us a little follow. You can find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us, follow us, follow us. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.